Wagwan, my future millionaires and billionaires. Welcome back to the YFM YouTube channel. I decided to just do a quick video to give you guys some tips on buying your first property in the US. And I'm just gonna get straight to it. Get your credit score in order. I did a previous video about credit score. Go back to that video to see how to improve your credit score. You don't need to pay anyone to fix your credit or improve your credit, as I mentioned before. Just try pay off the little debt. Pay off the debt and don't take on any more debt. It is very simple and straightforward. Don't go take out no bunch of credit cards or bunch of accounts. Of course, you need a few accounts because that show that are able to pay back money when you borrow it. But that's the first thing. Get your credit in order. A good credit score to buy a house, it varies a lot. It depends on what program you're going into. So like for instance, FHA or a conventional loan or a VA loan, they might require a different credit score. But generally, the better your credit score, the better it is for you. So just straight up, just have a good credit score. And what is a good credit score? Again, it varies, but you want to make sure the credit score over 600. Yeah, try and keep it over 600. That doesn't mean you can't go and buy your first property with a credit score of 500. It is possible, but we just stick with a general rule. Get it over 600. And if it's over 700, it's even better. So once you're getting your credit in check, what you want to be doing is saving. Yes, you have to be saving some money. Yes, you can actually buy a property with $0 down. It is possible. I've seen people, or I've watched videos of people actually buy a property with little to no money. There are various different type of special program for people, but generally it would be dependent on your income. So if you're not really making no money or you fall in this economically challenged group, you might be able to do that, or a certain grant. But again, you need money. So start saving that money. If it's even a couple $1,000s, it's gonna go a far way. So start developing that discipline of putting away a couple $100 each, whatever, weekly, bi-weekly, depends on how you get paid. Start saving up that money. Start taking up some extra shift, doing a little DoorDash. You see my DoorDash videos and my different delivery, Amazon delivery videos. Just kind of ramp up that saving to have more money, because what you're gonna need this money for is to pay your down payment and your like closing costs. So that's the second thing. Start saving some money. You need some money. What might be a reasonable amount? It depends on what you want to buy, right? So it all depends. You can ask me specific question in the comments, but the main thing is you want to be saving. Another thing now is you want to start looking at what you want to buy. Like for me, I'm going to use my example so I don't go off on a tangent all over the place. So initially, I knew I wanted a 2-family house. I want a property where I can live downstairs and rent upstairs. I wanted to reduce my living expense. I wanted somewhere where it's my I can call it my home, and I wanted it to be in a reasonable price range where I can comfortably pay the mortgage, whether I have somebody renting or not. And so these different conditions then allow me to kind of zone in and what type of property I want and the price range. And then from there, I calculate how much I would need as a down payment. So that leads me to number 3 or 4. I don't know where I'm at, but the next thing is having that down payment. So for instance, the house might be 250,000, depends on where you're at. If it's your first time buying a property, then you can take what they call a FHA loan. This is like a government loan. It allows you to put 3.5% down on the house. So if you take 3.5% of 250, you will get an idea of how much you would need, at least initially, to pay down for that house, which is not a lot of money. I think it's really attainable if you're kind of working and saving. It might not happen within a year. It can be 2 years, 3 years, but the main goal is that, all right, you're saving towards that down payment. The other thing is you want to look at the closing costs. So it's not just having the down payment, but there's the closing cost, and it can be a sizable amount as well. So you want to think about that. Closing costs can be 3% of the overall house as well. So you can like just think about that, do some reading on that. And once you have that down payment and that closing cost, you can really kind of start reaching out to like a real estate agent. You can reach out to a bank to get like a initial pre-approval as well. That pre-approval you can use to reach out to sellers and stuff to kind of work on getting your first deal. The closing costs that I mentioned, it is possible to not pay any closing costs. So don't let that deter you from thinking that you can't buy your property. So for instance, your down payment is $7,000. You only have $7,000 in your name. Or in fact, you only have 5,000 US in your name. It is possible for you to buy a house. You just gotta find the house at the right price, and you can ask the seller for a concession where the seller pays for the closing costs. In reality, the seller doesn't actually pay for the closing costs. You pay for it, but what happened is that closing cost is factored into the loan. So for instance, let me give an example. So for instance, the down payment for your house is $7,000, right? And you have that $7,000, so you're good to go, but you don't have that closing cost. You can negotiate with the seller to say, hey, I'm very serious about this house. I already have a pre-approval for this amount, ready to buy, but you have a condition. You want that seller concession, and the closing cost is say the closing cost is around 10,000 or 8,000. They could give you that concession, and the 8,000 or 10,000 is factored into the loan. So if you were gonna borrow 250,000, you would end up borrowing 260,000. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I explained it properly. The bottom line is, if that $5,000 you have, you can use it to buy your first property. Don't let that deter you from like, oh, I don't have the closing costs, or I don't have this. And also, there are different programs depending on the lender. You can talk to them about the different programs that they have. A good lender would kind of even refer like different stuff that you can look at and program that you might qualify for that allow you to not pay any closing costs or any down payment. So look into those. And I do encourage my future millionaires and billionaires to buy real estate property. Why rent if you can actually purchase? You can, every month your more money is going towards building equity and building up value in the house, and it's something that you can hold until you retire. It could be your retirement. You can generate income from it as well. And if you look at it, every rich people that you ever know, they own real estate property. Yep. So we gotta own real estate property too. So if you can buy, definitely try and buy. If you already purchased your properties, give us some tips and tell us how you bought your first property, how much money you put down, what was your closing cost, what was the price of the house, and all of that. I want all of us to be a millionaire. And if you're already a millionaire, please share with us how you became a millionaire. We're all here to learn. I just wanted to give some tips on buying your first property, and I feel like this can kind of have people thinking, for a person who didn't think that you could buy a house, just start thinking like, I have $3,000. That means I can save another couple $1,000 and I can think about buying a house. Yes, you can, depending on the area. If you're in New York City, that's different. You need your mullah, because New York City properties are generally much higher. But if you're in an area that the average or the median house value is 200,000, 250, 230, you just do that 3.5% down payment calculation. That can give you an idea if you can actually at least buy the house. Yes, the owning a house come with additional costs, maintenance. You're responsible for all maintenance, all the different stuff. But I think generally owning is better than renting, in my opinion. And if you can buy, definitely buy, and you can customize the house to how you like it. And it's just a great investment overall. So yeah, tell me if you guys are planning on buying your first property, your next property, or you're like, you know what, I'm good at renting. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for watching, and until then, next time.